Now is Tom Palmore. He has been an artist for how many years is it?
Well, professionally since 1971, so 37 years.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that you were painting long before that.
I was. I started out as a young boy in grade school, drawing and painting, and that's actually basically how I got started. Is I happened to have the ability to draw and paint better than the other little children, and I was encouraged by not only my teachers but also my family, and it really started from that point.
And Earthlings, the paintings of Tom Palmore, it's not exactly a biography, but it is the story of your art, isn't it?
Well, yeah. It really starts like after I got out of art school, and there's some paintings, drawings from the early '70s all the way up to '08, and it kind of. One of the difficulties in putting the book together is that I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm actually quite prolific, and I had so many images to select from that that part of the process was difficult, because I mean this book was published by Tom Quaid Publishing, and there was a limitation on how thick it could actually be. Otherwise it'd be a lot thicker. And it was there's a lot of artists that publish their own books and everything. They're really sort of vanity books, and they end up with like a garage full of books, and there's no distribution. But this is distributed by OU Press, and was published by, like I said, by Tom Quaid Publishing. And I'd had other offers in the past to do a book of my work, but I was really kind of unhappy with the deal. And this. Tom and I got along great, and that's how the project started.
Now, the author is listed actually as Susan Houston McGarry,
right?
And she's very well known in the art world too.
Yes, she is. She was the editor for Southwest Art for about 19 years, and very, very knowledgeable of Western art and contemporary art also. And I was very, thrilled that she was able to write this book, and it gave it a lot of credibility and everything, which is good.
Now, did she spend a lot of time interviewing you?
More hours than she would have wanted. But she lives in Santa Fe, and I used to live in Santa Fe. I now currently live in Oklahoma, but it involved several trips and countless phone conversations, and several rewrites, but that's how we did it. And she was. I had been in the magazine a couple of times anyway, and she has been familiar with my work for years. So it wasn't something that she was just presented with and surprised at the images or anything. She had known my work for quite some time.
Well, it's the kind of art book I like, in that there is some basic information if you're not familiar with that particular artist, but most of the book is concentrated on your art.
Images,
which is what you do. And if we could look at that first one that we selected up on the screen. I believe it's a cat in a cemetery.
Yes, it is. Actually, it's what happened was there's a collector of my work in Philadelphia, and I've done other commissions for him, and asked me if I would do a painting of his cat. And I knew where he lived at 7th and Pine in Philadelphia, and I also knew that in that area there is like a really old cemetery where some of the grave markers date back to the 1700s, and there's a church and a cemetery, and so I had the concept to do the cat in the cemetery, and it ended up kind of having an Edgar Allan Poe kind of quality to it, which I was really happy about. There's sort of a mystery to it and everything, and that's how that particular painting happened.
Now, you're called or prefer to be called a hyper-realist as opposed to a photo-realist, but you work from photographs.
Yes,
quite
I
often.
do, and I have for many years. And actually, I mean, it really first started when I was in high school. I would use photos as reference material and stuff, and so it kind of progressed in that way. And a lot of things that I do, because sometimes I only have one setting to actually deal with the subject. I usually hire professional photographers that I work with, and there's 3 of them that I've worked with for 25 years, and I always try to be on the scene and kind of act as the director to set the subject up and the lighting and things like that. But I found that was the best way if I had one opportunity to get the quality that I needed to get the precision, you know, was to go ahead and hire a professional photographer to do it.
Well, let's take a look at the next painting.
Okay.
It should come up here.
This is, I think the title is Miro Had a Parrot. And this is I've done a whole series of paintings with well-known historical artists with animals in front of them and everything. And I always really liked Miro's work, and it just seems very appropriate to put a colorful parrot in front of his paintings, in front of this particular painting. I've done several Miro backgrounds, and there's kind of a festive quality to it, and so that's how that one happened.
Okay, and the next one? Great.
This is called A Couple of Penguins in Front of Their Favorite Painting, and it's painted, the background is painted in a style of pointillism like Seurat used to do, and there's a billion like little dots and everything, and I don't know when the first time I started painting penguins actually in the late 70s, and I always loved the design of them. I painted several different kinds. There's something like 17 different varieties of penguins, and a lot of times I'll approach a painting as if the subject commissioned me to do a painting, to do that particular painting, and how would they want to be painted. And so when I had the concept to do this penguin painting, I thought, well, of course they would love a Seurat seascape behind them. So that's actually how that one happened.
Right. We have just a brief time, but you have commented that there is a thin line with your backgrounds juxtaposition with the animals, that there can be a thin line between the absurd and silliness.
It's true. It's true. And I never paint my animals shooting pool, smoking cigars, with funny hats and stuff like that. I really want to project them in a very kind and meaningful and elegant kind of way. I never paint them angry, aggressive, or anything like that. And like I said, much like I don't know any person that would commission a portrait of themselves where they would be angry or disturbed or depressed or whatever. And I really want to show them in their best light. And sometimes when you can get too cute with things, and they actually end up getting really kind of silly, I think. And that comes with the decorating the animals with different kind of clothing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think you preserve the animals in their dignity wonderfully.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank you very much for being with us today.
I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Great. Tom Palmore has been here talking about Earthlings, the Art of Tom Palmore, which you can find at your library and your favorite bookstore.